Do you want to go for a run? Okay. This is pretty dangerous to do barefoot because my feet are so cold that they react much slower. So whereas if my feet weren't cold and under these leaves there was a up-sticking branch or something sharp, I'd have a good chance of reacting before it penetrated. Or before I stubbed. Maybe not before I stubbed, that's always a risk. But it takes the subconscious part out of it, or it takes the foot thinking part out of it. Lovely crisp January day. The sun is gorgeous. I see people when the sun in winter is nice. I've seen them recently wearing sun steelers, wearing sunglasses, and I consider that verging on the insane. I just do not get it. I just don't understand why you'd want to hide your eyes from that beauty up there, especially in winter, especially in the morning. If you look at the sun at midday, no clouds, you might well damage your eyes. Not necessarily, not definitely. There are people, and I guess I'm trying to become one, there are people who can do that because they've been training for years. I've only been training for a couple of years. I watched a video on YouTube, I've talked about this before, of this guy in Hawaii at midday, and he's just being interviewed while staring at the sun, both eyes open, and it's like, what? And that video undid decades of being taught it is foolish and stupid to look at the sun. It is foolish and stupid to look at the sun in the wrong conditions, but there are also conditions like early morning, late evening, through the clouds, through the trees, where it brings benefit. It brings benefit. You know, you can easily see the physiological, neurological, and optomerical benefits just by simple research, especially using AI. Quite funny, it starts off, never look at the sun, and after a bit of sensible questioning, it's like, okay, yeah, there's science showing it improves mitochondrial function and elasticity, etc., in the retina and the optical nerve, and probably deeper into the brain. Your eyes have the highest concentration of mitochondria, I believe. And at the right wavelength, it seemed, although it is science, it does seem to me woo-woo. Not that there's anything bad with woo-woo, but it does seem to me woo-woo that certain frequencies of light kind of recharge these little foreign cells living in us, recharge our mitochondria. I mean, they are biologically foreign, but they are a big part of us, without which life couldn't function at this level of complexity. Right. It's quite slippy. Right. So the reason I've continued sun gazing is I do think it heals, or it has in some sense healed my vision. I used to wear glasses. I took methylene blue over 2 years ago. I still don't need glasses. I think that absolutely kick-started the reverse of the damage, and I've been sun gazing, and I've been doing this thing, eye push-ups, where you look at an object close up and just out of focus and push yourself into focus, and then you do the one far away, and you can repeat that. It's like doing a push-up, and it feels a bit push-uppy actually, kind of in that muscular sense. I should keep running, not just because it makes me look more fit, but because it's much better on my cold feet. You can run in snow, I've done that, and it's close to it at the top there, but you can't stand around in snow for long, or indeed with wet feet in weather this cold on frosty tarmac. But as long as you run, I guess increased blood flow and thermogenesis and all of that. But now I haven't got any gloves on and my fingers are freezing holding my phone. My phone screen currently has the red filter on. I think I'm going to have to change hands, put my headphones there, wired headphones. So I think that I've been thinking about this a lot lately. We've had Christmas, there's been a lot of humans on screens, including me. And one thing that strikes me is if you're there sitting on your phone, holding it, 5 inches from your face, watching videos or chatting or whatever, your field of view is mostly that screen. And that screen, as well as the junk it's pumping into our brains in terms of the media, it's also doing something to us. The blue light is doing something bad to us. I think there's science on this, but I feel it myself, and if I'm wrong, then it's a decade long fooling myself. Actually, that's not true. The decade long, it's the retina displays, I think, are the worst that I've experienced. So on my iPhone and my iPad. One way that you can ameliorate it somewhat is by turning down the brightness, obviously, and putting on the red filter. I've got loads of shortcuts set up, so if I plug my phone in, the red filter comes on. If I launch any social media, the red filter comes on, just to make it less addictive, just to make it less kind of frying my retina and my neurons and my soul. It's somewhat of a reduction. But so as well as that, having this idea of how much screen is in your face. If you're watching telly on the wall, I can't believe I'm actually recommending telly, but there we are. If you're watching telly on the wall, that's a much farther away screen. And so I think that's just better for you in terms of these psychological, neurological, physiological effects of having a high-pad screen that is flickering incredibly fast, that is pumping out non-natural wavelengths that don't exist in nature, and that we know, and we've known since the 50s, that light and wavelength can change behaviour and mood, etc. So to think that it's harmless is just asinine. It's ridiculous. Why on earth would you think that let's say you're spending 10 hours a day, imagine a human who spends 10 hours a day with a phone, full brightness, taking out all the other things about activity and that, it's just, of course that's nuts. Of course that's not going to be good for mental health and physical health and social health. I find this a modern no-brainer, and have done for years. Of course, I think that EMF is harmful. I still kind of go into that. I still am interested in that. I still would love it to not be true, but I don't think it is not true. It is not true. And again, why would it not be harmful? Why would it not be harmful to have Bluetooth headphones literally inside your ear, blasting out microwave radiation that is getting more and more and more high powered and higher frequency. So as you know, all this noise cancelling and Bluetooth location and all of this, these things are little microwave transmitters and receivers, and you've got them literally your brain sandwiched between them. I think a pair of these bad boys is, I would say, one of the best health investments you can make if you like listening to stuff on earphones. You know, and I know a lot of people who spent a lot of money on the AirPods and Bluetooth stuff and all the Bluetooth headphones. I've got a pair. I wear them for mowing the lawn, and I wear them on airplanes. I have worn them on airplanes just because of the noise cancelling. I would much rather have noise cancelling and wired, but you know, and I don't think that's gonna, I think that it probably is gonna negativize my biology somewhat, but not like doing it every day. It's madness. Anyway, I guess I shall end this here. Oh, what is it? What, you think Bluetooth headphones? Oh, not just Bluetooth. Okay, all right. Don't worry, be happy.